This is the 2026 marketing landscape. The whole purpose of this is just to get your guys's um, understanding of where the internet is heading and some of the things that you should be thinking about and doing coming into the new year. Throughout the year, we're going to be doing these webinars every single month. And so we'll touch on different topics that are super relevant for what is going on the internet right now and how you can apply these techniques into your business, things that you need to be thinking about, and basically just teaching you what you need to be aware of so you can start making moves to get your business going on the right foot and be ahead of the curve when it comes to marketing in 2026 and beyond. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to hop right into it because, like I said, I am on borrowed time today. I'm very, very excited though um, to share this with you guys. So. All right, if you guys can access uh, the Q&A, can I just get someone just give me a okay if you could see my screen here? Awesome. All right, so I am going to go back to my screen. Awesome, thank you. Awesome. So this is the 2026 marketing landscape. We're going to show you guys what you need to be paying attention to so you could start the year with clarity, authority, and demand. Okay? So, with that being said, the promise I make to you guys today is that you'll leave here with a clear understanding and a clear plan for 2026 and what you need to be doing with marketing, the things that are going to give you the biggest return on your time. Okay? You'll know what to stop doing immediately and you'll know what to double down on. Turn this YouTube off on my screen here. So, who is this for? This is for local businesses that need consistent inbound leads. This is for business owners who are tired of playing lead vendor roulette. If you're in insurance and you're watching this, then Quote Wizard, EverQuote, Smart Financial, Hometown Quotes, and the million other lead vendors that pop in and pop out. Um, if you're tired of random tactics of trying to implement something, but you really don't have the foundations in place, and then you try something new, then this is going to be perfect for you. Anyone who wants to build their own marketing system within their business and kind of take control and ownership of your own type of marketing, this is also for you. So, what we're going to be covering today is some of the things uh, that still work in 2026 from 2025, what is dead, what's not working, why most businesses don't have a lead problem, how to become the obvious choice, and how to build a marketing plan that actually works. So, the 2026 reality um, is that attention is more expensive than it's ever been. The the barrier to entry into anything, social media, marketing, all these things, it's almost nothing, right? It costs nothing outside of being able to pay your phone bill to have a social media account. And even in that case, you could go to a library, it costs nothing to sign up, right? So the more people who are getting into this influencer space, who are getting into this marketing space, who are really trying to put themselves out there, it's becoming not necessarily a saturated market, but it's becoming more expensive and more difficult to actually obtain attention, right? And so you need to be able to really grasp someone's attention, especially if you're talking about advertising, if you're talking about social media, if you're talking about any of these things. My good friend Sandra Gebhardt, she always says, scrolling on Facebook is like a commercial. and you only have a split second to grab someone's attention to stop the scroll to show your commercial. And your commercial doesn't need to be an advertisement. It might just be a post. It might be something educational. And so you really have to understand that you have to change your methods a little. And we're going to teach you some of those things. So, um, in 2026, uh, trust is going to be a huge, huge repeating term that you're going to see over the course of this webinar. Trust is what's going to determine who gets picked. And that's not just in advertising, that's not just in sales, that's in all parts of how you get referred by some of these search engines and things like that. So we'll talk about it a little bit more as we go on. And proof beats promises in 2026. It's easy to talk up a good game, but you need to have proof to be able to show to your ideal client that you are who you say you are. And the best way to do that is with proof. And so we'll talk about that as we continue as well. So, what's changed? Well, what's changed is is AI has came into the game. And so when AI comes into the game, we have buyers are researching longer before contacting anyone for a purchasing decision. You're seeing that on AI overviews. You're seeing that on ChatGPT. Um, you know, the decision cycle from the consumer is taking a lot longer because there's more conversational type of searches as opposed to people who are actually looking to make a decision on intent. So if you've been running advertisements in the past on like Google Ads, then you'll probably notice if you've done it internally that the costs are going up a little bit and the quality and quantity is going down a little bit. And the reason is because a lot less people are actually using Google search because they're getting their answers on Google AI overviews, or they're just going straight to ChatGPT and having a conversation and getting whatever they're looking for right there. So AI and Google Maps are shaping decisions earlier. Content is everywhere, but clarity in messaging is rare. A lot of times we are not very clear about what it is that we're looking to accomplish, and everyone is putting out content, so it's very easy to get lost in the nonsense that is uh, the internet. So we're going to talk quickly about some of the things that are still working. And so local intent wins. If you guys have been following me or listening to anything I've told you guys over the last like year and a half, local, local, local. We're seeing it with Google. We're seeing it with ChatGPT. Local is what is going to be a winner in 2026. It's going to be probably the biggest winner, especially when you pair it with the right content. And so, near me searches equals high intent purchases. I mean, that's just the reality of it. When people are searching for insurance agent near me, coffee shop near me, electrician near me, barbershop near me, the intent is already the highest, and you want to be a person that ends up in the maps pack so that you're selected and they come to you when they're searching for those near me searches. And the maps pack, if you don't know, is just the top three organic Google business profiles that show up on any Google search or Google Maps search. Okay, so Google Business Profile is going to be a recurring theme. If you guys follow me, that's like a main service that we offer, and it's for a reason because it is the most important for where the internet is heading. So near me searches, high intent purchases. Google Maps Pack equals high is your highest converting rank on search. So like I just said, you have Google search, which are the blue links when you go on google.com and you search and you find websites. Um, but the map pack that has reviews, that has your website, that has your phone number, that has your address, shows up in its own little dedicated box. It's usually a sponsored and then three organic. That is the Maps pack that has the highest converting rank on search and on obviously Google Maps. Um, and your Google Business Profile is more important than your website. We are going into a new year, and websites are very, very important still. They will always be important, but people typically no longer land directly on your website unless they're going directly to your website. So what I mean by that is when people are going to search, they're reviewing your Google Business Profile before they go to your website. And so they do that. If you've ever been on like looking for a restaurant and you want to go, let's say, an Italian restaurant, and you put Italian restaurant near me, typically the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to look at the reviews, right? So where are you looking at these reviews on Google? On their Google business profile. So it's you're being landed on the profile before they get to your website 74% of the time. That's what the conversion ratio is to be in the top three on the Maps pack. Okay. When you're ranked on the top three with your Google business profile, you're in the Maps pack. 74% of all conversions happen in the Maps pack. So your Google business profile, some people might not like it, but it's the truth because a lot of people put way more money into their websites than they do attention into their profiles. Your profile is more important. All right. So what still works? Consistency signals. Okay. When we look at rankings, whether it's websites, whether it's your Google business profile, the number one thing, the number one signal that is going to drive results for you is consistency. Okay. So platforms reward activity, right? It's good to schedule out what you're doing, whether it's automated scheduling or it's you just putting recurring uh, a recurring task or a recurring event on your calendar to do this every single day, whatever that task is, because platforms reward activity. Even if no changes are being made, as long as you're in there and making changes, they're going to reward you for it. So, platforms reward activity, consistency compounds trust with the consumer and search engines. Um, the consumer wants to see when they land on your Google Business Profile, when they land on your website, they want to see that the data and the information and the articles and everything that is what they're looking at is up to date and accurate. If you have an article section on your website and the last article that you wrote was 4 years ago, people are going to say this website's not being maintained. It sounds so ridiculous, but it's true. So it's important that you're being consistent with it because the more consistent you are and the more that people are re-landing on your website, heading back to your Google business profile, and they're seeing that things are being updated and they're different and they're changing, that's building trust. And it's the same thing on social media, right? The more you post, the more people learn about you, the more they learn about you, the more they trust you, the more they trust you, the more they want to do business with you. It's not an overnight thing, right? You have to be consistent because it's going to create trust. And cadence beats campaigns. So what I mean by that, sometimes we put out, a email campaign out to your list of maybe dead leads, right? Um, and that's cool. But if you're not being consistent with it, and you're not putting a cadence behind it, then the people who are receiving those emails, if they see one email from you today and then not another one for 3 months, they've forgotten about you. There is no trust, there's no authority being built. But when you have a good email being sent on a campaign and it's consistent every 3 days, every 5 days, people start to look for it and expect it. And that is building trust for you with that person. So create cadence, right? Like be consistent, create cadence, whether it's, if you're putting out campaigns, do it every three, one email every 3 days. If you're looking at social media, make 2 to 3 posts every single day. Facebook's going to reward you for that as long as your content is actually good. Um, be consistent. And then what also still works is your proof stack. And so what I mean by that is one, having review consistency, right? And testimonial. So a lot of times when we're doing, um, when we're building out reviews, a lot of times business owners tend to do it in batches, right? If you don't have a CRM that has the automation built in at the point of sale when they're, that consumer that has now turned into a lead, when they're the happiest, because it's a brand new relationship with you and them, a lot of times it becomes a lot more difficult to receive a review from them. And so you need to have a process in place where you can be consistent with obtaining new reviews. One, because you need it. You want to catch people at that point of sale. If you can't do it, you still need to have the consistency for the signals that go back to the rankings for Google, right? And so Google rankings, Google reviews are an important factor in how you rank. They want to see that one, that you're receiving reviews and that you're being consistent with it. It's not the biggest uh, underlying factor on how you get ranked by Google, but it's important because it's building trust also with future sales. So when people land on, like I said earlier, when people land on your Google business profile, the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to look at your reviews to see what other people are saying about your business. So you need to have those reviews, they need to be consistent. People typically go to the most relevant, the method in which people typically search are they land on your Google business profile, they go straight to the reviews, they look at the most recent reviews, and then they filter it and sort it to look at what your lowest reviews are. That's just how it goes. It's not bad to have bad reviews. As you grow and you get hundreds and then eventually thousands of reviews, you're going to have bad reviews. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't hurt your rankings. They just want to see that you're getting consistent rankings and that you're also responding to them. So review consistency with testimonials is a superpower. When you have clients who you've done a really, really good job with, you want to document that. You want to ask them for not either, but you want to ask them for both a review on your Google business profile and any other review platforms you may have, like Yelp or whatever the case may be, Trustpilot. And then you want to ask them if they've had a really, really good experience for a video testimonial. And if they're in person in your office, like try to make it easy for, that person to do that. Try to get like a decent camera. If you have an iPhone, just put it on 4K and you should be plenty fine with that. Um, Having before and after case studies. So in insurance, a before and after just looks like this person came in with X coverage, paying X premium, and after they worked with us, they now have X coverage with X premium, and make that a consistent thing that you track for social media. And make your processes, make them transparent, right? People want to see what the process looks like when they deal with you. So if you're running advertising on your website, like lay out what working with you looks like. Hey, we're gonna have a phone call conversation that typically lasts X amount of minutes, and in that, we're gonna go through what your current coverages are, what your current risk assessment looks like, what your coverages should be, and how we can get you there and what you should be looking like, right? Like document that process, give them an estimated time of how long it takes, even if it may be inaccurate because no one's ever going to stick to that same number. But you want to make those processes completely transparent so that people have the expectation going in of what they're going into, and if they're comfortable with it, it's going to help elevate how you convert people. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So what also still works, simple paid ads and then speed to contact. We know that this is the same thing we've always heard. Anytime you're purchasing leads or putting any type of money into leads, you want to make sure your ads work when the offer is clear, right? Like a lot of times, and I said it, clarity is a big issue. People are not very clear about their message. So the ads work when your offer is very clear. So you know exactly who your target demographic is. You put a hook at the beginning of your ad, you tell a story, and you put a call to action. Okay. I needed to put a comma in between hook and story. But yes, it's ideal target market, hook, story, call to action. So your speed to lead multiplies your conversion rates. So typically, when a brand new lead comes in, you want to get them within that first, like as fast as you can. If you have an automated system and you have team members who are on their CRMs, then you should be able to get them within 5-10 seconds of them coming in. If not, 30 to 60 seconds, like you should be reaching out. And if you have a CRM, you should be automating a lot of that process, automated reach out on text, automated reach out on email, and then going from there. And this is also a little trick I'm going to give you guys it's going to be a game changer over the long run if you run Meta ads, which is Facebook. One second here. So when you're running ads, you can have a Google Ads Manager, but also to run an ad, you should have a a Facebook page, business page, and you should be assigning both your ads manager and your business page to the Meta Business Suite. And a lot of times we assume that it automatically does that. It doesn't. You need to have your Meta Business Suite, and then you need to assign your business page and your ads manager those assets. You need to assign it to Meta Business Suite. And when you're in there, that allows you to have the lead center, which is their lead CRM, and they have different statuses that you can work under. So qualified, not qualified, um, converted, things like that. The biggest thing that you can do if you're running Facebook ads is to use that lead center. And when you have someone who is qualified, you put them in qualified. When you have someone who's not qualified, you put them in not qualified. Facebook's algorithm and machine learning is insane in 2026. Like it's gotten significant, like 100 million times better than it's ever been. And when you're using their systems and you're telling Facebook, hey, this person is a qualified lead, you're telling them, I want more people like this. When you say this is not qualified, you're saying, I don't want people like this. And the machine learning learns. And so two things happen. One, you get your ideal person, ideal client way more often and way less non-qualified people. The only downside is because it's way more targeted and way more consistent, your lead quantity might go down a little, but the quality goes way up every time you get that person. So track it in your CRM, in the lead center on Meta Business Suite, and then track your qualified versus non-qualified also in your own CRM. So if you're running like Agency Zoom or something, like obviously you want to track it properly for what you have. So just take a quick 10-second break. Does all of this make sense for everyone on this call right now? Just put a quick in the Q&A, just a quick response. Is everything making sense? Okay, Tony says yes. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go back to here. All right. So what still works? Being source worthy. Okay. Dan says yes. Catrice says absolutely. Love to hear it. All right. So what still works is being source worthy. And so you're going to hear a lot about different acronyms in 2026. So if you haven't heard it yet, you're going to. AEO, GEO, all these different EOs, SEO. Um, AEO is the one you need to pay attention to in 2026. GEO is more down the future, that's generative. The AEO is answer engine optimization, and that is how you get ranked for answer engines like ChatGPT, which is conversational. And Google has their version that you can also talk to. Um, but they also have their overviews, their AI overviews. And so being source worthy is super important. Uh, and it might change the way you do business also for the better, right? So Google finds articles, they link it with authority, and they look for links with authority, and AI gives answers to the consumer. That's how you get AI overviews. They're basically sourcing the internet very quickly within a fraction of a second, finding the most reputable websites and answers and articles, putting it together, coming up with a summary that may or may not be what is being mentioned in 3 to 5 different articles, right? But they try to keep it as closely aligned as possible. And so if you're not a trusted source, they're not going to cite you. ChatGPT is not going to cite you, and uh, AI overviews is not going to cite you. So you have to build content that's worthy of being cited. And how do you do that? You create educational content with with substance on specific topics. You don't want to talk about insurance as a whole. You want to talk about a specific claim that homeowners make in your city or state that is only relevant to the people you're trying to talk to. So I live in Cape Coral, Florida. Cape Coral, Florida is the worst housing market in the entire US. It's the worst. There are probably more houses for sale and being built than there are people who actually live in Cape Coral. If you don't believe me, just Google it, right? So I can make an article that's super relevant to people looking to obtain insurance for a new home in Cape Coral and how the housing market here is going to affect them long term. I would have to do research, then put that article together, but it's a very specific topic that talks to a very specific demographic. And if I'm trying to talk to homeowners who want home insurance in Cape Coral, right? Because that's where I live and that's my ideal client. If I'm a homeowner, homeowners insurance agent, then that's an article that's highly relevant. So people who are searching for how bad that market I will likely be cited for it, right? So very specific, very local, high substance, specific topics for specific products. Just start pounding out, like churning out a ton of articles relevant to that. And that's how you're going to start building authority. And that's how you're going to start getting people who are searching organically and landing on your website. The more specific the topic can get that someone may be talking about, the more likely it is that you start getting shown way more on the internet because the likelihood is that most people aren't talking about it in articles. So you want to be that person that for a very specific reason that's like only relevant to like you and your specific demographic that you're trying to talk to, you'll be that person that gets mentioned. So that hyper locality is very, very pertinent in 2026, especially when we're talking about being local and earning organic wins for your business. So what's dead? Let's get into that. So what's dead or dying fast? Right now, it's random social media posts that have no consistency or strategy, right? I told you you should be probably posting like 2, 3 times a day. It's it needs to be strategic when you're doing that. If you're being inconsistent, if you don't have a strategy, then every time you post, when the people who are reading your post see it, they're not going to know what the hell you're talking about or what you're all about, right? And so make sure that you have some strategy behind it. It's always good to plan it out. You don't have to necessarily schedule it out, but like plan out what the topics are that you want to talk about, and then on that day, talk about it. Like I'll give an example. I have my 12 months of topics for webinars already laid out. We already know what we're talking about. Like right now, we're talking about the 2026 marketing landscape because it's the beginning of the year. In February, we're going to be talking about specifically, we're going to be going deeper into Google search, AI overviews, local visibility. In March, we're going to be talking about websites, conversions, and buyer psychology, right? I've got the entire year already marked out on what we're going to be doing on these webinars, and they all align perfectly to help you over the long run, right? So have some strategy, be consistent, plan it out. You don't have to necessarily write everything out and schedule it ahead of time, but at least have the ideas and the topics already built out. We do everything pitches there, that's dead. If you're an independent agent and you are someone who like your differentiator that you believe makes you different from like the person down the block from you, is that you can help anyone and everybody. Like that's not a real differentiator. That's kind of the same thing everyone with options says, right? In 2026, niche experts are better than jack of all trades, master of none. It's just the truth. People Let's put it like this. I'm going to, if you're going to look for an insurance agent and you want to get homeowners insurance, and you talk to two agents, and one says, "Hey, I can help you with everything. You can put everything with me, and we'll be able to help you out." Or you talk to someone who says, "Hey, I live in the same city as you. I specialize in this city, and all we do is help like homeowners in this city with homeowners insurance. We know this market better than anyone else. We specifically work in this city, and this is what we do. And here are some of the things that we can offer that maybe other people don't even know about, right? You're going to want to go to the expert, right, in homeowners insurance in the city that you're moving into over the person who's like, I can help you with everything, even though you're not looking for it, right? That comes off almost a little bit, it almost reeks of desperation a little bit when people market themselves as that. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like to hear that. I've seen it happen so many times where people get into arguments over it, but it's the truth. Even if you're not necessarily a niche expert in one specific product and you are more of a generalist, you're better off marketing yourself as that specialist, um, to build that trust as long as you're good at it, right? People are going to want to gravitate towards you way more than if you just put yourself as like, I can help everyone with anything. That's what everyone says. Um, Tricks and hacks without fundamentals, that's dead. And I'll give an example. This one is personal to me. So a lot of times we like to, uh, not a lot of times, but sometimes we will say, hey, here's this new trick to do this, here's this new trick to do that. Especially as if you're an insurance agent being the consumer and you hear people trying to teach you tricks and hacks, a lot of times as agents, you fall for it. And so an example I have is there was a industry leader who was uh, selling a service. Okay, I'm not going to name names, um, but this industry leader was teaching, he's selling a service that has nothing to do with Google Ads. Okay. But he knows that Google Ads is a pain point for a lot of agents. They want to get into it, but no one does it because it's very difficult to learn on your own. And sometimes people don't have the budget or want to pay someone who knows what they're doing to do it because maybe their margins are too small, maybe they don't have enough budget to make it worth it, whatever the case may be. So very intelligently, this market, this industry leader says, "Hey, if you want to learn how to do Google Ads, because the real truth is that he's trying to build trust with himself and his audience so that he can sell his service. I'm going to teach you how to run Google Ads so you don't have to go to a marketing agency or anything like that." And it's a hot topic, it's a pain point, um, but it takes months, if not years, to really get really good at Google because it's constantly changing. And so what he did was he held this, you know, this we'll say a webinar or whatever, and he had a ton of agents who showed up because it was, a hot topic. It was a pain point that a lot of people wanted to learn, and he taught them how to run ads. And sure, they probably went on, they ran ads and probably generated some calls for themselves, and it was cool to start. But he taught the trick of starting it up and getting it without the back half, which is where all your money gets burnt, which is how to manage it, how to optimize it, how to control it, how to run, uh, search term reports and optimize your account for keywords and all the tricks that actually make an ads account work over a long period of time. And so if you don't have the fundamentals, right, and you're only using the tricks or hacks that you're being taught or being fed, then that could put you in a really bad position. And that needs to end in 2026. That has to die. You need to learn the fundamentals if you're going to do it yourself. And I suggest you put in the work to actually do it. So, what else is dead in 2026? So, buying shared leads from vendors. Um, I mean, that was dead in 2025, in my opinion. I've been screaming that from the rooftops. Uh, I'm someone who has worked for agencies that have spent upwards of $50,000 a month in leads. I've been in charge of managing lead buying for agencies running $15,000 a month in ad spend. and 10,000 and 5,000. I've ran my own budgets when I had my agency before I sold it, and I was also purchasing leads. It's a faucet that you can use that should be a small part of a larger marketing picture. That should not be your main source of generating leads. If it is, you're going to be in a really tough position to actually see a return on it because for most agents, they're actually losing money on the cost per sale versus the actual spend. So seeing that ROI, if you're unless you're a captive agent that's hitting a massive bonus at the end of each year and you're hitting your goals, it's very difficult to justify internet leads being your main source of lead intake unless you're doing that to start while simultaneously building out your own internal systems and building those up so that you can downsize your reliance on internet leads. So, vendor leads, they create dependency on the vendor, right? If that's your only source of leads, you're always going to be dependent upon them. And that means that you have no control of the quality. You have no control of the messaging that goes on these ads. You don't own the system. It's a borrowed system that you're relying on someone else to do right by you, and you're stuck with them forever. That just doesn't sound like something that business owners should be doing, right? You start your business so you can own your business. And so you should be doing that with your marketing too, so that you can rely on yourself and control all those things that you don't currently control. So, how do you start winning in 2026? I think we've kind of got a pretty good idea and overview of that so far, but the clearest offer is going to win. Most trusted proof will win, and the fastest follow-up processes will win. And you don't have a lead problem. You have a visibility problem on Google because you're not ranked in the top three. And that, like I said, 74% of all conversions happen in the top three. So if you're not in that, you're essentially losing out on 74% happen in the top three maps pack, 7% happen in paid ads, which are the top four spots that are sponsored on Google searches. So 74 plus 7, that's 81%. So, you have to share if you're not in the top three on Maps Pack or the top 7% for paid advertising, then there's a 19% chance that you may be seen in down rankings, which are through your websites, and you have to be actually ranked organically in your rank searchings um, for your website on Google to get that 19%. So if you're not even ranked in the top three or top 10 for your website, then you have a 0% visibility essentially. So fix your visibility problem on Google, fix whatever follow-up problems you may have. If you don't have that speed to contact, fix that. And then you have a trust problem. So if you're not putting yourself out there, not sharing your testimonials, not sharing your reviews, not sharing your before and afters, start doing it, right? Start building that trust with your audience before they become your clients. So here's a simple funnel that always works. Um, it's just kind of the baseline of like how things work. You get an impression, which is a view. You get a click. You get a lead. You set an appointment. Your appointments show up. You make a sale. You receive a referral. You should be able to have all those things in place. Now, things get really interesting when you actually start tracking what those percentages are, because then you could do the reverse math, do the math backwards, and actually see how many leads you need to generate to get an appointment, how many appointments you need to get to have, X amount of shown, what your closing percentage is to make a sale. And then obviously you could track also your referral percentage off people that you've made sales on. And if you do that, then you could put in a monetary number on each of those things and say, all right, if I want to make X amount of sales this year, I need to spend X amount on budgeting in order to hit my goal. And you can track that very easily when you're tracking these metrics. So what are four common leaks that you see? A weak call to action, no proof, a slow response time, and not nurturing. Uh, and not for nothing, you guys need to start using technology for automated follow-ups. If you're not already doing it, please start doing it. Um, I speak to agents all the time, and I'm a little bit shocked at how many agents don't use CRMs and technology and have automated processes to the point that it's like not as shocking to me as it should be because I hear it so often. Um, and there's nothing wrong with it. The best time to start is now. So if you don't have a CRM, go out, go find some CRMs. There's some great CRMs out there. You have Agency MVP, you have Agency Zoom. Like, go out there, test a couple out, see what works. If you want, build your own out. You have Go High Level, which has everything on there: text, calls, calendars, CRMs, landing pages, uh, community groups. You can do social media scheduling, connect all your accounts, everything, right? Everything is available for you. So, go out, get some technology. So when we look at um, lead quality comes before your lead exists, right? A lot of times we talk about how like the leads suck, right? The quality of the leads suck. Well, if you do all the things on the front end to qualify people before they become a lead, through messaging, through your funnels, through your messaging, through your social media posts, through your before and afters, right? If you position yourself better, the quality of people who will take action to work with you becomes significantly higher. So you no longer have to worry about the lead quality because you are creating the lead quality and you do that through your messaging. And so obviously this has nothing to do with, purchasing leads, which is why I said that's dead in 2026. This is about putting yourself in a position on social media and creating your own ads and controlling the narrative of lead quality. So you get better positioning, find pain points that your ideal client have, and talk to it. If you're running an ad, the Andromeda updates, uh, they will take care of that for you. Be very specific on your scripting on the text copy, be very specific on the video, be very direct and specific on your static images, and Andromeda will find the right people for you. And then, like I said, if you pair that with actually like marking qualified and not qualified in their lead center, you're going to be in a really good position over a long period of time. Um, Start showing your proof, right? Get better proof, get your best clients to give you written and video testimonials, right? And then have a clear call to action for every post so that people know what the next step is to take with you. Speed to lead rules, you need auto and text, auto, email, update, automations built out. So if you don't have automations built out and you do have a CRM, I recommend going with Accelerated Automation, which is Mariah Gates' company. I know they work almost exclusively, if I'm not mistaken, with Agency Zoom, but they're awesome for like getting your automations built out, getting your campaigns built out, things like that. And there's other companies as well that do similar things. I'm not too familiar with how many are out there, but that's a good company to go with for getting that built out if you don't do it yourself. Um, Make sure you're outbound dialing within like I said, 30 to 60 seconds, but like 90s, like kind of the higher end of where you want to be with that. If you're not having the auto text and emails go out immediately after a new lead comes in. And then the 11357 follow-up method is my method that I used in my agency, and I kind of use it my entire career. And that just means that if you don't get a hold of someone on the first time, you follow up in one day. And then if they don't pick up, you follow up one day after that. If they don't pick up 3 days after that, they don't pick up 5 days after that, then you call them one last time 7 days after that. If they don't pick up during those six calls, the initial and then the 11357, then I X date them. I send them out 6 months out for a follow-up and I don't really bother until then because they're not gonna respond. If they don't respond to text, email, call, in six different times, that's six times three different methods, that's 18 different communication times within like 3 weeks. They're not going to respond back to you. So it's not worth you wasting any more time and effort on that person unless you have like a full-time telemarketer dialing old leads. So speed to lead rules. And then also, you've probably been measuring the wrong KPIs. So what I mean by that is Too many times agents are, they look at the wrong things as being important. Cost per lead does not matter. It does not. A lot of times agents, like if you're talking to someone about the cost of a lead and how much they're paying, and one might say $30 and the other person says 12, and then another's like, oh, well, I'm paying $4 for a lead. And they think that they're better because they have a $4 lead or a $3 lead. But if you have $3 leads and all of them are crap, and you have a 0% closing rate, then that $3 lead means nothing. And if you have a $40 lead, but you're closing it at a 50% rate, that's an $80 cost per lead. The average PNC agent is somewhere between 120 and $150 commission per sale. So that means that you're almost, you're super profitable on it. It's like a $70 profitability per sale per lead, right? So, the cost per lead does not matter. What matters the most is your cost per shown appointment. You want to know how much it costs for you to actually talk to someone, especially if you're like in life insurance where like sitting with someone is more important than like kind of the quantity, high, activity game of PNC. The cost per sale is what matters the most. At the end of the day, like the most important metric is cost per sale, cost per acquisition, whichever one you track. But cost per sale is going to tell you if you're profitable on that marketing budget or not. So that's what you need to track. And then tracking your revenue against your spend. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They run ads, they make money, and they spend all that money right back into the business. You should be tracking your revenue of how much you spent on those leads versus how much you're making on it, and then taking the profit and splitting or allocating either 40 or 80%, up to 80% of that profit, not the total marketing spend, just the profit that you've made on it, and reinvesting that back into ads so that you could slowly start building out your ads to generate more leads for you. Because if you're tracking everything else, then you know you're being profitable and you're generating more opportunities for your team and you're reinvesting back into your ads. That is how you grow your sales instead of just remaining kind of consistent, right? Because if you never increase your ad spend, then the amount of leads that you receive are probably going to be somewhere in the same range month over month. It's hard to grow that way, right? So reinvest your profit back into more leads. Um, Next, category determines your competition. So for this specifically, I'm talking about Google Business Profile. And so on Google Business Profile, you have categories and you have subcategories. Your category is a signal that Google sends back that when someone is searching for something, that's going to be a main signal as to whether they want to show you or not, if you're ranking for it or not. And so a lot of times with agents, we'll see insurance agent, broker, insurance agency, insurance agent, and that is the primary category. When we're talking about niche in this entire webinar, right? Your primary category, if the majority of the sales that you make in your agency as a farmer's agent or as an Allstate agent is car insurance, then your primary category should be auto insurance agency, not home insurance agency, not insurance broker, not insurance agency. Primary category should be auto insurance agency. So when someone is searching for auto insurance, you're already deemed a better fit than someone who might just be a general insurance broker or agency. Now, you have secondary categories or subcategories that you can put, and you can put multiple ones. That's where you put home insurance agent, that's where you put insurance broker, insurance agency, all those things. That's going to give you a slight edge when it comes to ranking by having the correct primary category. So, um, category leaders compete on trust, right? So, what do you want to be known for? If you want to be known for selling car insurance, then be that car insurance agent. This is, you know, uh, I said it here, commodity businesses compete on price, right? You don't want to compete on price. You want to compete on being trusted. And when people trust you, they'll work with you regardless of the cost. All right. So the elevator pitch. So this is important when it comes to social media and being able to differentiate yourself. You should be able to put into like one or two sentences how like who you help, what you deliver on, and what makes you different from your competition. It's an elevator pitch. You can use it obviously in an elevator when you're meeting people at events, conferences, but also when you're making your social media posts and videos and things like that. You need to be able to express what makes you different and truly different. So if I am someone who decide that my niche is going to be like high value homeowners, then an example would be I help affluent homeowners with high value properties secure tailored high coverage limits um, that actually matches the home's rebuild costs and lifestyle exposures so they avoid dangerous gaps and get white glove protection and smoother claims when it matters, right? That is a differentiator because I am saying I only work with high value clients, right? And that might turn people away who I might have sold business to anyways, for lower cost homes and that are not high value. But people who are high value are going to see that and they're going to be like, oh, I haven't heard an agent talk like that before. And I have a high value home and I want to work with you. That's how it works, right? So codify what makes you great. So outcomes can be copied. A codified method is harder to copy, even when you're sharing it amongst many people, right? As you start to build your audience, a codified method is harder to copy because it becomes a lot more genuine to you. And so create a framework that turns out great producers, right? This is a codified method, also makes it very easy for you when you're developing other people to kind of take bits and pieces from yours and use it for them. So with my agency, before I sold, I used a codified method I call the OPS method. And just so you know, it's an acronym. I'm a former baseball player. OPS in baseball is on base plus slugging. It's my favorite stat. Um, but in this method, it stands for open book premium strategy. And I use that to get clients with higher premiums that stay longer. Okay. And if you want, I'm not going to go through the entire OPS method with you, but if you want to pull out your phone real quick, I'll give you guys 30 seconds here. You could take your phone, open up your camera. This will open up my OPS method that I use for sales. And that teaches you the storytelling that I use with clients in order to sell them, to explain to them the pricing of how pricing is structured for car insurance and home insurance, how to read kind of like a client profile, and then explain to them why their price is the way it is and what they need to do and what we need to do as an agent to get their price down and their coverage higher over a longer period of time so that they are committing to us long term, we're committing to them long term, and they're okay spending more on the front end to save on the back end. The OPS method is right there. So, like I said, if you guys need another 10 seconds or so, just pull out your camera, pull up the QR code, and you can have access to the OPS method that I use. Give you guys another couple seconds here. If you have any questions, make sure you put it in the Q&A. All right, I'm gonna get back into it. So proof stack. So make trust unavoidable, right? Social proof. So if you don't have review widgets that show off your reviews, go get one. You could go get those from different apps. If you have a CRM, you may have that already built in. Take the embedded, put it on your website where your testimonials are shown, right? Create a ticker on your website that shares your latest reviews, things like that. Give visual proof, share screenshots of your successes before and after, and process proof. Make videos explaining your sales call process and what working with you looks like for the consumer. The obvious choice method. Um, Tell us like when you people are creating content, it's very difficult a lot of times when you're first starting to know what to talk about. Talk about what's happening in your industry. Be open and transparent about it. People like that, right? Talk about why it's happening, and then explain what you're doing and working on to fix it with your clients, right? You're building trust, you're building authority, you're being clear and transparent. There's clarity. You want to hit all those things, and it's going to create really good content for you. And also, don't worry about the results. Don't worry about how many people are searching it. I have like 4,300 people on Facebook, followers on Facebook, and I have posts that have like 0 likes, 0 comments in the first week, and then it blows up 2 weeks after. Sometimes the algorithm doesn't show it. Sometimes it does. It doesn't matter how many people are seeing it. It just matters that you're putting it out there because the systems, the apps, they're seeing it and they're going to connect you with the right people at the right time. So making the decision feel safe, set clear expectations and timelines, simple next steps, right? Never force a sale. People don't like that. Uh, if you've ever been sold to, right? And we're all salesmen at the end of the day when you own a business. Um, you don't like being sold to, so a lot of people also don't like being sold to. Tony Castle says, so on social media, I have a page. My personal page is on professional mode. It seems that I post a lot on personal content, and as soon as I post something business-minded, my interactions become a ghost town. Do you use a personal more than a business page? What's the latest and greatest best option? I feel like social media stuff is a full-time job within itself. It is. It is if you allow it to be. I probably spend no more than like 3 minutes a day posting on social media. It does not take a lot of effort to post, right? Um, it only becomes a full-time job if you're relying on it to be everything for you. And that's not going to happen until you've built enough authority over a long period of time to become that authority. So yes, you always want to post on your personal page. Business pages at this point, business pages, groups, they're basically worthless on Facebook in 2026. Like the throttling of reach is is so low on business pages and groups that it's almost not even something worth putting effort into. Um, now, your personal page is where people get to learn about you. They get to learn and trust you and like you. Your personal page is where all that should be happening. But the issue that a lot of agents run into is that agents only add other agents or family or friends instead of adding consumers and people that they can actually sell to. So if you're an insurance agent and the majority of your content is directed towards the consumer, but your friends list is only other agents, friends and family who already know you, and you don't have any potential new consumers or clients that are reaching your page, then guess what? You're talking to the wrong audience, and that's why your reach is also down because they don't care to hear about insurance if they're already an insurance agent with their own business, right? And so that's something I see a lot is agents adding a lot of agents, and that's kind of their entire social media. Um, I use my social media almost entirely for business purposes. I'd say 96% of the friends that I have connections with on Facebook are are just like purely for business. I probably have I could count on one hand how many friends and family I have on my Facebook. Some of my closest friends I'm not even connected with on Facebook, right? So keep your personal page on professional mode. That's good. That means you're a creator. Um, post your personal content, on your personal page. Um, don't worry about the business page. Honestly, it's not worth it for you. All right. So we're going to talk about the 2026 marketing operating system. Um, so there's two types. You have demand capture and you have demand creation. So demand capture is capturing clients who are looking in real time. And demand creation is making people want to work with you. So I'm going to go through these quick pillars here. So the marketing operating system pillar one is demand capture, which is local. That's Google Business Profile. And so I'm going to give you guys just a quick overview of what you need to be doing on your Google Business Profile. Optimize your primary category on Google Business Profile to be the most relevant to your number one service. We spoke about that. If your number one item that you sell is car insurance, make yourself auto insurance agency, not insurance broker. Two, Build an automated review process and respond within 24 hours to every review that you get, whether it's good or bad. 3, correct all your NAP data on the internet pertinent to your business. Inconsistent or incorrect data means your business is going to be invisible. When you're building trust with the internet, with Google, they're searching to see everywhere that your business is listed across the internet. Your name, your address, your phone, your website, all that stuff. Some websites will add you automatically. Some websites scrape the internet, they find your business, and they add you to their website. You don't have to sign up for it. And if you've ever changed locations or you changed business names or they formatted the name of your business wrong. So if you're a farmer's agent and one website says Farmers Insurance, Tony Castle, and then another website says Tony Castle Insurance Agency, that is inconsistency. And Google looks at that and says, I don't know if I trust you because your business is listed as one thing here and another thing there, and you haven't corrected it. So we don't trust you. Another thing is if you've ever changed address or phone number, same thing. If that doesn't get updated on one website or another, same thing. The trust goes out the window when it comes to Google's, wanting to refer you because they don't know if it's trustworthy information. And Google makes all their money by keeping people on their platform. And so it's it's the utmost importance of Google to ensure that when people land on google.com and search for something, that they are putting the right person in front of the consumer. So trust is important with Google as well. Post weekly without fail on the update section on Google Business Profile. Most people don't know this exists. There is an updates section that you can post a picture, you can post ad copy, not ad copy, just like text copy on there, and they have pre-built call to actions that tie to your Google Business Profile. So call now, visit website, things like that. So use that and post weekly. You have to take advantage of the systems that they put out for you. Um, Remove spam and inactive competitors. That's a little bit more difficult for you to do if you don't have access to systems to see who's ranked ahead of you, and what to look for. But if you do see that there's like a business that doesn't exist anymore that's in your local market, you can actually request to have it removed and remove that competitor off, which should help you if they're ranked ahead of you, to be seen, and then make use of all the new features. So like Google Business Profile, they'll release a chat feature, and the chat feature allows someone to chat with you directly off your Google Business Profile, and then that chat will go directly to your phone that the phone number that you put in to text with, and that chat will be between them on like on your Google Business Profile page typing, and you on your phone texting. Okay, so the chat feature, take advantage of it. They have appointment scheduling features. They have different things. When new ones roll out, make use of it. If you don't know when it's rolling out, you should be in there every single day. This is where we talk about the consistency part, right? Be in there every day, even if it's for a minute or two. Just make sure everything looks good. Make sure your hours of operation are always up to date, and move on with that. The next pillar that we're going to talk about is the demand capture, which is paid ads using Meta. So running Meta ads for lead forms is going to be your best option. The Andromeda update highly favors niche value-driven content on one topic. We spoke about this already. Every ad that you create should have 2 to 3 static images. And a static image is just like an image, right? Not a moving image, just static. Create 2 to 3 different static images. And then every ad, I recommend also adding a video. And so for that, use the HSC method, which is hook, story, call to action. A hook gets them to stop their scroll. The story keeps their attention as you tell a story, pertaining to whatever it is that you are trying to do. And then the CTA is the call to action, fill out the form, schedule a call with our team, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. Maybe you're giving away, a checklist to someone, right? Whatever the case may be, that's your call to action. Create a lead form, and they have the option where you can open up Messenger with every lead submission. Do this every single time. Assign your assets to Meta Business Place first, like we spoke about earlier, so that you have it all in one section. But when a lead submits a form, you should get a notification that says that a messenger conversation has opened. That might be the easiest and quickest way to converse with someone to get their attention, right? The biggest issue with buying shared leads or buying leads in general, especially on Facebook or through any lead vendor, is getting in contact with them ever. And so this allows you to open up a fourth dimension of how you can communicate. Typically, it's call, text, and email. And when you do it through your own page, now you have the option to message them on Facebook because that's where they're filling out the form. So it's a game changer for actually getting them to communicate back with you. And then also, something I like to do, you don't have to do it, but I like to add a calendar request date in every form. So they fill out a form, they request a date and time that they want to be contacted, and then they submit that with the form. And then what we do is we text, email, Facebook Messenger, and call. And we do all those things just to confirm that the date and time that they requested is the best for them. And if they respond back, then we put them on our calendar, and our show rates are like 87%. You can't beat it, right? Um, if they don't respond back, we do not put them on the calendar because they're not going to show up. We already know this. We've tested it for a year. Doesn't work. Um, so keep 5 questions at max. The more questions you put on a lead form, the less likely they are to complete it. And so I like to keep it at 5 maximum. Name, number, email are the three that are non-negotiable. And then the date requested is the fourth one we put on every single lead form. And then the last one could be a more relevant question that you add in to what it is that you're doing. So depending on what we're talking about, that fifth question may change. It may just be asking for a website. It may be asking which method of communication they prefer, text, email, whatever the case may be. But you can change it for your whatever it is that you like. And then speed to contact matters. Like I said, email, text, Facebook Messenger, chat, call, get all that done very quickly. And the more automated you can make it, the better. And then the last marketing operating system pillar is the demand creation. So for social. So just make two to three posts a day. It shouldn't take you more than like 2 minutes to do, right? Do it every single day and try to force yourself to make one video every single day until you're comfortable with it. Once you become comfortable with it, then you can pull back a little and do one every 2 days, every 3 days, every five. It's not as important as maybe it will be in the beginning, right? Because in the beginning, you're trying to build your trust, you're trying to um, build your following, you're trying to build your reach. And so video is going to be important in the beginning. Um, Talk about your pain points, right? That your ideal clients are facing. Um, Add consumers to your social media that are your ideal clients and not other insurance agents, and then share a case study or testimonial or review every single week. A lot of the content that you need is already there for you. You just have to repurpose it from a review on your Google Business Profile page to a social media post. So stuff like that you don't even have to think about, to be honest. This is about building trust before they ever talk to you, right? Before they ever reach out to you. This is about building that trust, and it takes time. I have people who reach out to me. I had someone reach out to me um, yesterday and was like, "Hey, we're opening another agency. Someone, my wife's getting licensed, and I think we're gonna use your marketing services for X, Y, and Z." I don't believe that I have ever met this person in the past, right? I've been friends on Facebook, and the trust is there. Wouldn't have reached out to me if we didn't already kind of have some trust of like him seeing my content for a while. I recognize his name, so I've seen him for a while. So there is that mutual connection. So you build the trust, it takes time, and you build trust through your content. So just a quick recap of today's webinar. Clarity, create a simple offer with a clear message. Authority, share your proof stack and be consistent with it. And then the demand, capture, create, and convert, right? Capture, create, and convert. So what I want you guys to do this week, after you hop off this webinar, optimize your Google Business Profile, launch your paid ads if you haven't, post 2 to 3 times daily, tighten up your elevator pitch, and codify your sales process. Okay? It's going to make a huge, huge difference. Now, here's next steps. If you do need help implementing this end to end, we'll map out and build your entire system with and for you. And you can schedule a call with our team to see if your city is available because we do work with one agent per city. Two, if it's a larger, metro area, you could schedule a call at the QR code. I'll leave that for another 10 seconds or so. Leo Carmona says, "This is terrific. Thank you, Victor. Will there be a recorded version that I could share with my team?" Yes, we will have that up on our website by the end of the day. I still need to capture the recording, edit it, and then I'll have it uploaded onto our website, which is clickrush.io. We have a whole webinar section, so some of our past ones are on there as well, so you can check it out. Yeah, we'll have that up by the end of today. So I'll say check tomorrow, and it'll be up there for you. All right. And then also, like I said, um, we have a webinar going on every single month. And next month, we are going to be doing a Google search AI overviews and local visibility. That will likely be a lot shorter of a webinar than this one was. But if you have already registered for this one, then great. You are automatically registered for the next one. So you'll start getting you'll get the reminders that you're registered for it so you can hop in on there, but just so that you have an idea that it's coming for it. If you know any agents or any business owners who can make use of the stuff that we're teaching here, just have them go to our website, clickrush.io/webinars. They could check out the past webinars, and then we'll also be um, have them register for the next one that comes out, and we'll have that on there. Catrice, thank you so much. I look forward to scheduling the call. Catrice, I look forward to meeting you. Leo says, thanks, Victor. Just scheduled a discovery call with your team for next week at 10. Awesome, Leo. I look forward to seeing you guys there. I appreciate you guys for stopping in. I hope that you guys learned a lot from this call, and I look forward to seeing you on the next webinar, or if you've scheduled a call with us, seeing you on those calls. With that being said, I am going to stop the recording here.